Today, in the morning of Washington, D.C., was the first day of the commission investigating the Donald Trump instigated MAGA riot that took place back on January 6th. When it comes to Donald Trump, the relentless astrological coincidences never cease to amaze me. When something important happens, again and again, the planets align themselves to reflect the situation in perfect synchronicity to therefore repeatedly illustrate the way the stellar science works. First of all, let's lay out the big planet siege this mendacious menace of a man finds himself in. Transiting Eris, far out there in the solar system where it takes sunlight 9.5 hours to reach, in its yearly July station in direct square to his Saturn-Venus 12th house conjunction. On its own, that's bad enough. It's a station, and that points to big pressure. But if the Orange Menace scoundrel had an astrologer, he would hear a message that said, well, yeah, this is bad, but every year it gets a little worse until about 2033 at the earliest. So, meanwhile, Pluto is parked opposite the 12th house Venus all of this year and all of next. This is good for play acting as a fascist, but bad if all the intelligence agencies are looking into putting you behind bars. And this theme is emphasized via Saturn's transit, as it is currently opposing his Pluto, letting him know the current government and the social order at large isn't happy with his plutocratic impulses and actions and seeks to make him accountable. And this particular Saturn harassment, as he would put it, won't be ending until next year, and at the moment is getting more intense as it makes its way to a station in October. And the kicker is, of course, Neptune, his most overused planet, the one he constantly accesses to lie and deceive and disinform, but is also his most vulnerable planet due to its natal positioning. And this planet is now grinding through the 8th sign, squaring his sun and moon until 2024. So, today, as the January 6th congressional hearings began, where's the moon? The moving planetary influence that so commonly goes by the hotspots to highlight or trigger what is going on. As the testimony was being given, triggering Neptune, right at the square to his moon and moving toward his sun. This is the classic astrology coincidence that happens again and again and serves to both illustrate how it works and how to keep me interested in stargazing. But for Trump, this is a very unhappy coincidence because he is constantly trying to manipulate and control the message. In that big head of his, filled with a pea brain, he is convinced everything in life is a matter of crafting the right message, the appropriate disinformation, the crafty BS. That's because of the natal Neptune in the third sign of messaging. As to how he thinks this works, well, it's not true, of course. You have to be smart enough to recognize that messaging will only carry you so far. And this is certainly one of those instances. But ironically, what started today, as shown by that moving moon right over the hotspot, is both an investigation and a reckoning our democracy needs, as well as precisely the kind of infomercial, the messaging, that our malevolent ex-president hates. Again and again, the public is going to see harrowing images and hear emotional testimony directly or indirectly implicating him in criminal behavior, to which his best answer will be that it was all Nancy Pelosi's fault. I'll tell you one thing for sure. Today is not a good day for this guy, and the astrology is clearly illustrating he has lost control of the message. Neptune, the message carrier, is now in a perilous spot, putting tremendous pressure on his planets, and this infomercial pummeling is not going to end anytime soon. And, to make matters worse, the Justice Department announced there will be no executive privilege excuses for any of the scoundrels that were aiding and abetting his malfeasance. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy? No, it's happening to the sad excuse for a man most deserving of this fate in the political history of this country. A fate which is still unfolding and I suspect will grow worse, much worse as time passes. Mark my words on that one.